Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
The spice is nice.
It's really good. I really recommend it.
It's like home. Everything's perfect.
It's absolutely delicious.
It was really, really nice.
Superbly marinated.
The customer service is amazing.
My favorite Asian food in Bangkok now.
It was genuinely the best, most filling meal I've ever eaten in my life.
The most authentic place to come for Filipino street food, spoon and rice.
Hi guys, how you doing? I'm with Josh right now, live from the Philippines. We're here in the UK, and
Hello.
we're here for another week of. Hi Josh, how you doing? Another week of Pusong Pinoy with Malcolm Conlan. Of course, we're sponsored by World Remit, and I'd like to thank them very much for their support, for their trust in us, and of course, Spoon and Rice and Comfort Healthcare. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great, Mal. I just had an awesome trip from Luzon. So I'm live here in Cebu, Philippines. I'm back at home, and I just had an awesome week traveling from Luzon, going back home. Passed through places such as Camarines Sur, Naga, Legazpi, seen Mayon Volcano, Mount Isarog, Mount Bulusan, and all other mountains along the way. Passed by Leyte, Samar, and lastly Ormoc before getting here in Cebu. So just a full packed week I had this past week.
Wow. I guess it must be good to be able to travel again. Of course, well, how did you find your trip? How were things?
Well, it's there's no more strict restrictions in between regions. Like I went through Camarines Sur, Naga, Albay, Leyte. There were no strict checkpoints. I easily went through all the borders. So I can say that the lifting of those requirements, such as the RT-PCR, is in effect. So it's now up to me to make sure that I practice all the minimum health requirements or health practices just to avoid COVID, because this is really something that's been in talks in the around the social media this past week. Like cases are starting to spike up again, unfortunately.
Am I right in thinking the other day there were like 7,000 cases or something, and it's really spiking? It's a real worry again, particularly for those of us who'd like to visit the Philippines. Some of my friends are either married to Filipinas or engaged to Filipinas, and I know you can travel with a Filipino, but of course, if you're in the UK and your Filipino wife is in the Philippines, you still can't travel to see her. And I understand totally the reasons, but the more it goes on, the worse it's going to be. I don't really see a way out at the moment. I don't know if you can see a way out of all of this, but it's a real worry.
Yeah, definitely worrisome, because when we thought that things are getting better, like we were plateauing between 1,000 to 2,000 cases daily. And since December, September last year, we never really reached beyond 500,000 or 600,000 cases. And now we're seeing 7,000 cases in a day. Very alarming. And it's just really a wake up call for everybody. Just that we already know how to avoid getting COVID, and what are we doing, like us private citizens, to really help reduce the spike of these cases.
I think that's a good point, and I know, of course, it should be social distancing, it should be wearing a mask, it should be sanitizing your hands frequently. But I've been watching a lot of these YouTube videos on these walks. There's this Philippine street walks or something. It's a guy who's going around with a 4K cam, and he's walking around different parts of the Philippines. And when you go to areas such as Tondo, it's really, really jam packed, and you can't stop that. You can't stop that from being the case. But the sad thing is, I'd seen so many people not wearing their mask properly. So a lot of people wearing it on their chin, a lot of people wearing it underneath their chin, a lot of people wearing masks on their forehead, their visors up, and they're in very close proximity. And it's not to blame anybody. I know it's a hassle to wear a mask, but realistically, I really do think that even when you're outside, they say there's not so much of a risk when you're outside. But even when you're outside, if you're in a market, for example, you're leaning over an outside market, you're still a centimeter away from your fellow citizens. So realistically, if you're talking, saliva's going to spread, and there is going to be that spread of COVID cases. I'm sure you agree that we all need to get better about wearing our masks if we want to see this end anytime soon.
True, I couldn't agree more, Mal, because considering that we are starting to feel the summer heat in the Philippines, I know that wearing the mask and the face shield could get really uncomfortable, especially when you're at the place where it's not air conditioned. But right at this point, we already know that the only way to really protect ourselves from getting infected or getting to spread the virus, if we are carriers ourselves, is just to really use that little sacrifice of wearing the mask and the face shield. So it really goes back to, I guess I shared this in my Facebook a couple of weeks ago, like having the patience and the obedience to really follow these rules. I know it's quite hard, especially most Filipinos really need to work. They need to work, they need to feed their families. And I guess it goes back to, if we really want to get out of this pandemic, we have to really cooperate. I guess it goes as well to everybody across the globe.
It is such a hard situation. I know our next guest as well has diversified a little bit into another business. So I guess she's really affected by this pandemic as well. But I'm really, really looking forward to our next guest, or our guest for today, who's very kindly agreed to join us. And I know she's a friend of yours as well.
Yes.
Please, can you go ahead and speak a little bit and introduce our guest for today, Josh?
Well, our guest for today, Mal, has been in the music industry in Cebu for quite some time, and she's also entered a national scene as one of the contestants previously in the Pinoy Dream Academy. And I've known her for quite a while, since college. So with no further ado, I'd like to call on our guest today, very special guest, Apple Abarquez. Maayong gabi, Apple. Good evening to you.
Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Good. Maayong gabi. That's right, isn't it? Good evening.
Yeah, maayong gabi. That's true.
Magandang gabi. Magandang gabi for everybody in the Philippines. In Tagalog. So, Apple, how have you been?
I'm fat, thank you.
I like that. It's that lockdown spirit that we all have. We're all sitting at home. We're all just watching TV. We're on the couch. We can't really exercise. It's a really hard time.
The pounds have increased by a
for
mile.
all of us. I now have 3 chins. It's the effect of lockdown. But, we're still the same person inside, right? And,
True.
We can still find comfort. You know, I've got to be honest. Lockdown is very hard, and of course, COVID is really hard, and it can be very depressing when you're at home. And you know, it's just nice that we have this platform, if you like. You know, I have my show. I've done about 50 episodes now. And, you know, it's something that gives us comfort, you know, to be able to connect and, of course, to meet talented individuals such as yourself. So I'm really looking forward to today's episode.
Thanks, Malcolm. It's been hard, not just on the Philippines, but on everybody, I guess, the whole world. It went on a standstill for about 6 months, and until we began to create actual connections again. And I'm just thankful for technology and how everything has been. For people like me, like we're literally in the entertainment industry, the downfall was so hard on us all. We couldn't host, we couldn't do live performances, so hard. So we had to diversify and explore our other talents and hone them. So, a lot of us became online sellers. A lot of us learned how to cook. Most of us learned how to operate TikTok. If I'm not, you know what I mean?
It's really funny because there was this drive in the UK last year from the government because, of course, they're worried in the UK as well about the effect on the economy. And I don't remember how it was, but there was some politician who said, look, even actors and artists need to reskill. So they were talking about ballerinas reskilling. But, you know, that's just utterly ridiculous because there are certain professions like ballet, etc., where you have to practice on a daily basis, you have to dance on a daily basis. And, you know, the UK has these fantastic people. And, of course, if they all reskill to become actors or to become washer-ups or whatever they're going to do, engineers or whatever, the problem is now we've lost this whole industry, this artistic industry we've lost. And you know, that is an absolute disaster for us here in the UK. The UK is known, I guess, for dancers, talent, all kinds of stuff. But if everyone becomes a banker or something, you know, we've lost this whole industry
Due
and
to
life.
necessity.
And it's really, really a big worry. And I'm sure you'd say the same.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but I do believe that once it's your innate talent, whether you like it or not, it resurfaces at some point. It's just that, creativity is born out of necessity. And in order for us to survive, I guess some of us have to become more creative than the usual. If that's, yeah. But then again, I think that, no matter what you get into during the pandemic, I just want to think positively and think of it as an additional skill to what you already know.
Completely.
I mean, that's just me. That's just me thinking positively.
And I like that, Mal, because like what Apple is doing is also very visible across everybody. Like in the streets, you can see people showing their creativity just in order to survive, especially if they need to continue, especially here in the Philippines. For some vendors, especially on let's say in the streets, they get to be creative. You can see people selling all other stuff like there were pilots who used to be drivers, food delivery drivers, just for the meantime, like at the start of the pandemic, especially during the lockdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people see it as a downgrade to what they're used to, but in my opinion, I see it as an upgrade because, well, then you know the limits of the things that you can do. I mean, what can you do? What are the possibilities of the things that you can do? And what have you limited yourself to? Because it's like we've all grown to be in a box. And now is the right time to actually go beyond that box, right? And
I agree.
This pandemic has taught me a lot also. I mean, me and my whole family were COVID-19 survivors. I lost both of my parents last year. A week later, I lost my aunt. Another week after that, I lost an uncle. And then me and my whole family, me, my brother, my sister, my two children who are 6 and 3 years old, we all had COVID, but here we are, struggling, but we survived. And the children, they don't even know that they survived a deadly virus. uh, Only the adults will truly understand and feel whatever it is that we need to feel. But the children, sometimes I wish we would all go back to being children, just be happy
True.
and carefree. But it's been hard, but
Yes.
here we are.
I didn't know this, and my heart really, really goes out to you. It must be so unimaginable, it really, really must be. And for those people who say COVID doesn't exist and it's just flu and all these COVID idiots, I don't know what you would say to them, but I'm sure you have a few choice words.
Sure.
I have a very few select words which may be bleeped out later. But, for those of you who say that COVID isn't real, it is. The symptoms are real. Um, the pain right after is real. Uh, Not so much, the illness will always be there. I think it'll probably be here for, just like Ebola, just like any virus, it'll be here for quite a long time. And even if we do get the vaccines, I mean, it's not 100% sure that, we're not going to contract it, or we're not going to recontract it, which is even harder. And for the people who don't believe that this thing is real, coming from a survivor and coming from someone who's lost so much during the pandemic, I would not wish whatever happened to us to happen to you, just so you would believe.
And of course, the reality
Exactly. Like,
is, the reality is, of course, in the Philippines, there's more than 100 million Filipinos. And this means that on a yearly basis, if this becomes a yearly vaccine, which is what they're saying in the UK, it
Oh my
means on a
gosh.
yearly basis, the Philippines needs to have 200 million vaccines if they're going to vaccinate everybody in the country. And on the UK, AstraZeneca vaccine dose is £3 per vaccine, or maybe $5. So, meaning to say, the Philippines has a yearly cost of maybe $500-600 million, and that can't happen. People are talking now about borrowing money and getting into debt and everything else. And I never go political on this show. But what I would say is this, the Philippines are having to spend $500 million a year just to keep their citizens safe. And that can't happen. That's not realistic for any country. So I really
exactly.
don't know what the exit strategy is. I don't think there is one at the moment, other than this herd immunity, i.e. the virus will eventually weaken if people take the precautions like the wearing of masks, the social
Yeah.
distancing, the hand sanitizing. Other than that, it's a real issue.
And
I
it's
mean,
also very important. Sorry, Apple. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, it's also very important to have this kind of conversations. Like we get to send our message across everybody that it does exist. COVID exists. People are impacted. If the only impact to you, for those who are watching, and for if they are very fortunate to have no family members who have been impacted, if the only impact to you is that you got locked down, your normal activities were restricted, you can no longer go out to the mall, watch the movies, well, that's understandable. But for those who have lost loved ones, for Apple, and also myself, I also lost my
Yeah.
dad due to COVID, and I also tested positive for COVID while I was in the metro. So this is something that would really spark that conversation where I get to hear, like in the case where I talk to people from communities who haven't really seen an outbreak. They say that COVID has been used as a way to earn money for some government officials. It's really something that I don't want to talk about it being political, but some people who don't have direct experience, who haven't been impacted personally, doesn't see the reality that it is real. They don't see it
True.
as a real thing. So very
True.
timely that we have this conversation, but at the same time, we would like to like what Apple said. The message that we're trying to say is that despite of this pandemic, life would still continue. you would spring up from where you are at, from a devastating situation. So tell us, Apple. Like, Mal, Apple is a very great story to share. If you can tell us about your background, Apple. Like,
So,
how
so,
was
so
music in your? Sorry, Paul.
So what we're going to do right now is, I know this is such an amazing episode and it's really good to have this chat, but if it's okay with you guys, we're just going to go for a quick break just to show honor to our sponsors. And then when we come back again, we're going to get into this conversation about your life and how things are for you, Apple. Thanks, guys, for watching Pusong Pinoy with Malcolm Conlan.
We'll be right back.
Hey, what's good, Malcolm? I hope you're doing good out there. Thanks for the support. I hope you're doing good. You feel me? Just stay safe out there.
The spice is nice.
It's really good. I really recommend it.
It's like home. Everything's perfect.
It's absolutely delicious.
It was really, really nice.
Superbly marinated.
The customer service is amazing.
My favorite Asian food in Bangkok now.
It is genuinely the best, most filling meal I've ever eaten in my life.
The most authentic place to come for Filipino street food, spoon and rice.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Hi guys, welcome back. Just before we start the next part of the show, I'm very grateful, of course, to Easy Mill again for your shout out. I'm a big fan of his music now, his album Act One, and of course everything that he's doing right now is kind of blowing up, and it was nice, to have that personal greeting from him. It was pretty awesome. So yeah, we're going to go back now, and we're going to be talking to Apple, which I'm really looking forward to. So Apple, over to you.
Yes, hi everybody, and we're back.
Cool, fantastic.
Hi.
So tell us a little bit about your life, and then you're going to maybe sing for us, and we're looking forward to that as well.
All right, so let me reintroduce myself. My name is Apple Abarquez, and as Josh had said earlier, I'm a former Pinoy Dream Academy Season 2 scholar. It kind of works like Big Brother. It's just that Pinoy Dream Academy is more of a singing competition. We're technically put inside a house of Kuya or Big Brother, and then we're trained there by seasoned musicians. So I did this when I was like uh, 18. It's that long ago that I even forgot how old I was. So I did this when I was 18, and then after that everything just followed through. I stopped school just so I could join the competition, and then later on after the competition finished, I went back to school, got my degree in management accounting, and of course that's where Josh and I became great friends because he's dance troupe and I'm a choir, and we would do gigs together or shows together because school activities, yes. And then after that, I
Yes.
did quite a bit with my life. Um, I did DJing for a while. I'm a freelance host. I'm also a vocal coach, and I do a yearly competition here. I've been doing it for 12 years now. I did a Sinulog Idol. It's done every Sinulog time, and then there's a bunch of singers, and we train them, and they do the competitions. And I've been a resident host and judge for mentor for the past 12 years. So I think I've been busy.
So I guess lockdown's such a really hard time because some of the stuff that you did before,
Oh
it's
my
hard to do. I know
gosh.
we can do stuff online, but of course it's not the same. You can't.
Yeah.
It's not like a concert where people would pay a ticket, they would come in. It's
Yeah.
much harder to do that online.
Plus, I did dream catchers. I'm still doing dream catchers, but we're kind of just limiting things now. It's sort of like play acting. Some my characters range from Mrs. Potts to Ursula. You know how fun that is. I also did musical theater for quite a while. I did Siddhartha for about 2 years, and we traveled all over the world. And I went as far as New Zealand, and
Wow.
we
Wow.
did Southeast Asia because we did Singapore, Taiwan, Malaysia, Indonesia. We also did China. And then we went to where did we go to? We went to New Zealand, and then they traveled on to Japan and Brazil, but I had to stop because motherhood.
Motherhood happens.
Was that
Motherhood
during the tour?
happens. Um sometime there.
Sounds like a great tour, going around the world, and sounds absolutely awesome. It's incredible. Not so many Pinoys maybe get to do what you've done and to maybe
Oh
travel
yeah.
the world and everything. So it's absolutely awesome to hear that. I guess it was a wonderful experience.
Oh, it was great. And I also joined W Copa, the World Championships of the Performing
Yes,
Arts. It's
yes, I know that very well.
we were in Los Angeles. We were in Long Beach, California.
Yeah.
It was so fun too. That was so nice.
So you must know Joel Mirandes from here in the UK. He was also there as well, and of course there were others from that batch as well.
Yeah, I did that in 2015. It was so fun. I had a lot of fun. Every time I join competitions, I always have a lot of fun. It's because you get to meet a lot of people, you get to interact with different races, know their culture, know their behaviors when they're drunk, which is a must.
Drinking was a thing of the past. In days before, maybe we could do some virtual drinking. I'm not encouraging it on my show, but like maybe we could do a week of virtual rounds or virtual drinking.
Because it's just so. I mean, Zoom meetings and drinking are fun, but nothing beats the
It's not the
same
same,
stuff that
personal.
you do when it's
It's
face
not
to
the
face,
same.
right?
Anyway, so
I
we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna hear you sing right now, which we're really
Sure.
looking forward to. So that'll be absolutely awesome. I know a lot of people are watching right now, and they'd love to hear you sing as well.
Here we go. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Just something really simple and chill, because why not? So this one is from Corinne Bailey Ray, one of my favorite songs. So I hope you guys like this. Here we go. Three little birds sat on my window, and they told me I don't need to worry. Summer came like cinnamon, so sweet. Little girls double dutch on the concrete. Maybe sometimes we got it wrong, but it's alright. The more you seem to change, the more it stays the same. Don't you hesitate, girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. Blue as the sky, sapphire and lonely. Sipping tea in a bar by the roadside. Just relax. Don't you let those other boys fool you. Gotta love that afro hairdo. Maybe sometimes we feel afraid, but it's alright. The more you stay the same, the more they seem to change. Don't you think it's strange? Girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow, just more than I can take. Pity for pity's sake, some nights kept me awake. I thought that I was stronger. When you're gonna realize that you don't even have to try any longer. Do what you want to do. Put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. Girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we have a virtual applause. That was awesome.
I like
That
the
was-
virtual applause.
That was really nice. I really appreciate that. Thank you. We were talking earlier on about Kumu. You know, I've been using that a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
Last year, I became kind of really addicted to it. Maybe late last year, I was kind of sending gifts to OFWs and maybe Saudi and
Everybody.
other areas. It was costing me a lot, but it was fun. Tell me a little bit about Kumu and how that works for you.
Okay, so a lot of entertainers have gone on to Kumu because it's a virtual app that you can actually give gifts on, like you decide who to give your gifts to, and later on it's converted into actual money, actual cash, which is deposited into your account via GCash or bank transfer. It depends on what you want it to be. So like 50,000, I think 50,000 Kumu coins is equivalent to technically 1,000 pesos, which is not bad. I mean, some streamers make so much money out of this app that they don't want to go back. There are some streamers that I know, like my friends from the show that I'm in, from the show that I was in, Pinoy Dream Academy. One time he went on Kumu and he wanted to just, go on it one last time before he took a 1 month hiatus, and he got about 8 million Kumu coins. So I don't know how much that. So as I've said, creativity is born out of necessity. So
Wow.
I,
Go through again.
yeah.
How much 50,000 stars or coins would get you? I'm trying to work it out in terms of how much we're actually paying for them.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Because let's say he made 8 million that night. So you divide that by 50,000. So that's about 160,000 pesos
It's a lot.
in one
Wow.
night.
So you were just saying earlier on about 50,000. What does 50,000 equate to? Because I'm trying to think in my mind how much it cost me to send 50,000.
That 50,000 is about, I'm not sure how it equates to in pounds, but in
Well, I can tell you,
pesos.
if I'm gonna get 20,000 coins, it's gonna cost me £20.
Oh
So
wow.
so
So
so so
you
so from the UK. So obviously, if I'm gonna get
Whoa.
50,000 coins, that's gonna cost me about
50
£40.
pounds.
So
Yeah.
realistically, if you look at how much money, and Kuma's a great app, but actually, I just wish there was a platform that would actually give more of the money that I'm actually giving would go to the
To the
people I was
artist.
giving it to. Because it's like you think, wow, you're giving like 10,000 or something, and it's costing me, I don't know, £8 or whatever it's costing me, and to you, it's only worth about £2 or £3. Hopefully, they'll come up with another one, but it's
When it comes,
obviously it's
yeah,
very
yeah.
popular, and obviously it's a great way of finding some kind of living, if you like. But I
Oh
just wish
yeah.
there were, it's just. I don't know. It's hard. It's really, really hard right now. It's hard for everybody. But if there's any way that you guys can make some money to support your music, to support your lives, then I guess that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, many artists resort to these apps like Kumo, there's Bigo, there's a new one. I'm not even sure what it is, but I see a
Leica.
lot of Leica is different too.
Mm.
Leica is more of like an Instagram type thing, and
Mm.
it's also, well, yeah, it also costs a lot. So
Mm.
for me, who's not really techie, I mean, naturally. Naturally, I would want to venture into it, but since I'm not really techie, I took the other route. So I took the business that my parents left behind, and being the millennials that we are, me, my brother, and my sister, we try to make it grow. So now here in Cebu, when Josh has the time, he can come and visit me and eat at the
Definitely.
restaurant.
Definitely this week. And Mal, you should
I
try
know,
it as
right?
well.
Please tell us about your business as well, so everybody knows who's watching.
All right, so it's called Kaplitang's Barbecue and Lechon Manok. My parents have been running it for 40 years, and when they died, everyone just, you know, everyone just naturally thought that, we would take over, and we did, because the business not only supports me and my family, it supports so many families that are under us as well. We try to help in every way that we can. I mean, these people need jobs, and they've been working with us for like 6 years, 7 years. One has been working with us for like 30 years already. So that's like half of his life almost working for us. And we can't afford to just let go of these people just because. So it's a barbecue store, and we sell grilled meats, technically pork barbecue, chicken barbecue, and we're located here in the south side of Cebu. It's in Poblacion Pardo. We have yet to venture out into the city because apparently it takes a lot of work, paperwork to be exact. You see, I don't understand why the government does this to us, but it gives us a hard time.
Mm.
I'm just trying to earn here. Gives us a hard time to open up in so many places, but the goal is in the next 5 years, we're going to be able to open a city one, a city branch, so that people from the city can also come and enjoy the great food that we deliver.
I've been
It's
waiting for
such
that.
a, oh my gosh, Josh. And Mal, yes.
It
come on
sounds really
over.
awesome, but I think the red tape has always been a problem, and I don't really blame central government because I know every single
Oh
area,
no.
every single barangay, every single city government, they have their own licenses and paperwork. I remember before I went to a store in Manila and I
Oh my
bought
gosh.
a mobile phone case, and I ended up with about 6 receipts. This is going back about 10 years, like government receipts and city receipts and something in triplicate and something else. And that's really an issue. And I think the way that the Philippines is going to attract business from across the world is really if
Yeah.
they reduce the red tape, reduce the licenses. I know somebody who's in the hotel industry, and they need licenses for the lift, for the door, for the stairs. Every single thing
Everything.
needs a license. And of course, they all
True.
come with payments as well. And it really puts people off from a lot of
Yeah.
investors from doing businesses in the Philippines. And again, this is not
True.
political. It's just I know that they're trying to streamline this, but I think
Yeah,
it's a really big issue, especially for small businesses such as yourself, and it would almost
True.
discourage you from expanding.
I
I
can
mean,
agree.
I'm not even irate about it. I'm not even mad about it because I know that this is the Philippines and this is just how it works. But being someone who's been all over the world and seeing the different kind of cultures and the impact that, these simplifications do to the businesses that are running all over the world. I mean, it's easier to open a business in Australia or in New Zealand than it is to do it here in the Philippines. And I would know because I have friends who have opened businesses in Australia and New Zealand, and all they really needed was a chance. That's all they needed. I mean, they had all the permits done, and then that's it. They could open up their businesses, and whenever they wanted to close their businesses due to technical problems or due to economic problems, then they would just close it down just like that. Here in the Philippines, it's easier to open up a business than to close one down. I mean, I'm
Wow.
closing my parents' businesses down. I'm closing their business down because I have to. Because they're dead, they're no longer living. So technically by writ of law, that means that I have to close their business down. And there's so many things that I have to go through, so many permits that I have to cancel out. And I think really that's the main problem with the Philippines. And I'm not even speaking politically. I'm just saying this as a business owner, as a small business owner. The problem with the Philippines is that they put so much into detail that they don't see the bigger picture.
Mm.
When
Yeah.
you want to perfect everything down to the last sanitary health permit, that you forget to see the rats that are running in the oven or wherever.
Mm. And tell me about it because I tried to register a business right before going back to Manila. It did put me off,
Really?
Mal. Yeah, so I mean,
See?
probably gonna restart that in a few weeks. But right now, I just enjoy the music. I just enjoy this conversation, and I guess Apple has another song for us. Apple,
Mm, wait, I'm sorry. Here you go. So
sure.
this one,
I'm always a fan. You
because
know what? I'm
me,
always amazed whenever you sing Apple. And just earlier, I was still like going back 12 years, 13 or
oh
14
my
years ago.
gosh,
Was it
we're
14 or
old.
16 years? we are. We are.
See, Mal, because we're Asians, we don't really age. So,
We're immortals. We stop at a
because
certain age.
immortality. Because I stopped at 22. So,
My goodness me, you're so funny. I wish we could talk for hours, Galing. I'm really enjoying talking to you. Wow.
I know. That's why Josh is the bus boy. Because we were sitting on the bus and
It was
there.
so cold.
I know. Go ahead and try and sing for us if you can. That would be
Here
awesome.
we go. This one's from Adele. Oh, I love her. When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, there is no one better to dry your tears. I could hold you for a million years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. No doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue. I'd go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. Love, no, I'll make you feel. Storms are raging on the rolling sea, and on the highway of regret, the winds of change are wing wild and free. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. There is nothing that I wouldn't do. Go to the ends of the earth for you to make you feel my love. To make you feel my love. Yeah.
Aww. Thank you so much, Apple. That was such an awesome song. And now we're gonna pause for a quick break for some ads.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Nice. It's really good. I really recommend it.
It's like home. Everything's perfect.
It's absolutely delicious.
It was really, really nice.
superbly marinated.
The customer service was amazing.
My favorite Asian food in Bangkok now.
It was genuinely the best, most filling meal I've ever eaten in my life.
The most authentic place to come for Filipino street food, spoon and rice.
And we're back.
We said that together, so we're kind of getting quite in tune to this now.
We're in sync.
I've really enjoyed today. We've been really having a catch up on life and talking about lockdown and COVID and business and so many different things. We're going to go ahead and hear now a little bit more from Apple, particularly regarding her social media and how we can find you online. Can you go ahead and let us know, please?
All right. So please follow me on my Facebook and my Instagram. It's just Apple Abarquez. And if you're on Kumu, I'm there as well. I don't stream as much, but I'm there. Just follow Apple Abarquez. And for those of you who are in Cebu and you want to try really good barbecue, please follow us on social media. It's Kaplitang's Barbecue. And you can just send us a personal message, send us a DM, and we'll gladly get your orders for you and deliver. Because everybody should stay home, so we deliver.
Please, can you send me a link to your business as well so I can share it on my social media and across my pages? And I'd love when I'm next home in Cebu, which I will be, there's no doubt about that. I'll definitely be going to Cebu either late this year or early next year. It'll be absolutely awesome to maybe drop by and meet you in person. I look forward to that.
Of course, anytime. Can I ask you something though, Mal? I think you've already had your shots, right?
Yes.
So which one did you get? AstraZeneca?
I had the Pfizer, and the reason is because if you like, I work in a hospital, so you could say within healthcare, and the first one that was licensed back late last year was the Pfizer vaccine. So, and of course, what they wanted to do was give us the same vaccine. So we had the first one in January. I had the second one last week. I think the issue with the Pfizer vaccine is that it has to be stored at a very, very low temperature. You need a specialized fridge. So the reality is it's probably not so suitable for, if you like, a developing country, maybe the cost of the freezers and everything else. But the AstraZeneca vaccine, which I believe is only about £3 a dose or $5 a dose, is that it can be stored in a lot better temperatures. And then there will be some discussion over the Sinovac, the Chinese vaccine. But again, this is a vaccine that can be stored in pretty much in a fridge or even kept out the fridge. So realistically, you know, people are saying what vaccine they want, but I think people need to understand that, you know, not all vaccines are going to be suitable for the extreme weather in the Philippines, particularly now as it's becoming so boiling, if you like. The summer is just intense, and I think that has to be taken into consideration. But bearing in mind, the Philippines has a wide portfolio of vaccines, as far as I understand, if not 7 or 8, if not more. So I know the thing is they've gone round the world, if you like, to buy in vaccines because they need so many. And no individual vaccine distributor could make them 100 million vaccines, you know. And again, this is not political, but I think there is a variety of vaccines in the Philippines.
Yeah, because
not to mention the logistical challenges as well, being an archipelago, right?
Oh my God, that's true. Because, you know, they're starting to vaccinate people here. And I think they're doing a Sinovac because, one, it comes from China, so the shipment is easier rather than AstraZeneca. And being someone who's had COVID before, I think it's very important that we get vaccinated. But they won't vaccinate the children because, of course, children still have BGC running in their BCG running in their veins. until they're 17. So they're going to start out first with the healthcare workers, and then comes the regular people, the regular people, you know. And I'd like to. I've heard so many stories about people having seizures and stuff, and I think that's basically because you inject a virus into your body, so naturally you will feel sick for the first 3 days,
Can I just
right?
can I just interject there?
Yeah.
And again, this is not meant to be any kind of medical discussion or anything like that. But I think, naturally within life, people will experience illnesses. People will experience natural conditions. There was talk about the blood clots and the AstraZeneca, but within society, people will get blood clots. People will die of immunosuppressant problems. People will die of cancer, heart attacks, allergic reactions to medications. That is going to happen. But the thing is, the majority of the people aren't really going to have any side effects. And, you've got to look at the bigger picture. If it prevents people dying from COVID, again, not to be political, but what people need to understand, that dying from COVID is a very painful death. It destroys the lungs. If you look at somebody on a chest x-ray when they've had COVID, the lungs are just a mess. So it just shows you it's really important to have this this vaccine. Anyway, so let's just go to our final song, if that's all right. And you're going to go ahead, and I've asked if you could sing something in Filipino.
Yes, and I'm thinking what I should sing. Do you have any requests?
I remember this song that you always sing back in college, Apple.
What is it?
I guess this was Bukas na lang.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Wait, let me search.
Wow.
Because
Or was there
I'm
a specific song you had in mind, Mal?
No, I just love all the Pinoy songs. I love the Philippines, as you guys know, and something in Filipino would be pretty awesome. I do have certain sort of favorites, but I guess I'll leave it over to you.
Here we go. Because this is because you because Nutella says to start your day with happiness. I told you guys I'm not techie, so Nutella, start your day with happiness.
Thanks for the free advert there. And I need to put a disclaimer and a thanks to Nutella in this episode.
Here we go. Kay hirap palang umibig sa di tamang panahon. Kung bakit ngayon ko lang natagpuan ang isang katulad mo. Sana noon pa kita nakilala, sana noon pa lang na ang puso ay malaya pang magmahal. Bukas na lang kita mamahalin, sabay sa paglaya ng ating mga puso. Bukas na lang kita mamahalin. Kay hirap palang umibig sa di tamang panahon. Kung bakit ngayon ko lang natagpuan ang isang katulad mo. Sana noon pa kita nakilala, sana noon pa lang nang ang puso ay malaya pang magmahal. Bukas na lang kita mamahalin, sabay sa paglaya ng ating mga puso. Bukas na lang kita, bukas na lang kita, bukas na lang kita yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, I've really enjoyed today. I know we've kind of gone off a bit of a tangent a little bit, but we've spoken about COVID as well. But obviously, with your circumstances and the circumstances of Josh as well, you know, it's something that we've sort of almost needed to cover. We've spoken a little bit about your business back home in Cebu. Can you go ahead and just shout out your business again for us, please?
Again, for everybody who's watching, thank you so much for being with us. It's been so fun. And if ever you're in the south side of Cebu and you want to taste the best barbecue that there is, you can go to Kaplitang's Barbecue and Lechon Manok. You can find us on Facebook and on Instagram, Kaplitang's Barbecue and Lechon Manok. This is an ode to my parents. This is, for me, the fulfillment of their legacy. Our hashtag is the legacy lives on, because just because we lost them, we won't let go of the things that they loved and treasured the most. So, Kaplitang's Barbecue, guys.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And again, I really appreciate you taking the time out. Josh, any final words?
Yes, I'm very happy to have Apple as well on the show. Thank you so much, Apple, for saying yes to my invitation earlier this weekend. Bus girlfriend.
Okay,
So
literally, Malcolm, he just went, "Can you do the show?" And not even knowing what the show was about, I said, "Sure. What are we doing?"
And then you kind of asked me what was the show, and then you watched it. I hope you've enjoyed it as well, and you know, I hope to make more of these. Yeah.
I have. It's been so fun. It's informative. It's fun. And, you know, for those of you that are in the UK, but you have Pusong Pinoy, I mean, this is something that connects you to the Filipino culture that you don't want to lose. So I'm so glad that you're doing this. Thank you, Malcolm, for having me.
Thank you very much. Maraming salamat, and good evening. It's late now. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Josh. If you want to close out the show, that would be awesome.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today's episode here at Pusong Pinoy. Despite of what's happening around us, always remember that there's a lot of reasons to continue with a smile, with positivity, despite of the pandemic. So thank you again for joining us with Pusong Pinoy with Malcolm Conlan. Watch out for next week's episode. So Malcolm and I will be back. So Mal, thank you so much for today.
Maraming salamat. Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
See you all.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
The spice is nice. It's really good. I really recommend it.
It's like home. Everything's perfect.
It's absolutely delicious.
It was really, really nice.
Superbly marinated.
The customer service is amazing.
My favorite Asian food in Bangkok now.
It is genuinely the best, most filling meal I've ever eaten in my life.
The most authentic place to come for Filipino street food and rice.